Bags down, spikes on. Welcome to the track. Hi, my name is Colin Waitsman, and I'm going to be your host for this episode of Track World News presented by Track Barn. And we now have a new sponsor of the show, Track Barn. If you're looking for anything track related, whether that's equipment, uniforms, spikes, bags, anything, you can even customize stuff there. Make sure you go to Track Barn and use code TWN in the checkout to get a discount when you check out. And we're going to actually be having a lot of news coming out with collaborations on even giveaways and how you can win even a pair of new spikes. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Now, let's get into the episode. And so today we have a few different topics we're going to talk about. One, the NCAA. So we'll be talking about Abby Steiner breaking the American record, Trey Cunningham putting on a crazy performance, Brandon Miller, overall what this college track weekend looked like. And then we're going to be breaking down what we just saw at the United States National Championships for indoors, who qualified, who didn't qualify, all that type of stuff. So you definitely don't want to miss it, and make sure that you subscribe, leave a review, like this episode, all of that stuff. It really helps us know that you're enjoying what's going on here. Now, let's get into our first story, and that is Abby Steiner. So Abby Steiner put on an amazing performance at the SEC Championship with scoring with the 60 meters, and also being a part of the 4x4 as well. But that was not why we're all talking about Abby Steiner. Oh no, not at all. She ran a 22.09 in the indoor 200 meters. 22.09. The old American record was 22.33, and that was set by Gwen Torrence. And you may not know who Gwen Torrence is. It's fine. I didn't know who she was either, because she set this record back on March 2nd, 1966. So this record has been standing for a very, very long time. I mean, this record probably came out when Abby's parents were born. So this is a very long-standing record, and to see somebody finally break it is crazy. And she was super smooth throughout this entire race. I mean, she was running really easily. It was never really a doubt in her mind. She was in the lane 5, and so she pretty much caught up to that person in lane 6 very, very quickly, and then never relinquished it, and just broke a record by an amazing amount. And this is all setting up for her to have a fantastic outdoor season as well, which she was supposed to have last year. I thought she was going to have a good year. A lot of people thought she was going to have a great year to finish out. She did have a very good year throughout most of it, but then got derailed with injuries after the regional round of NCAAs, wasn't able to compete in the NCAA final. And so now that she's going to be back, hopefully she's going to be back and healthy, because obviously right now she's going to be the favorite for the Bowerman. She's running crazy times, dropping insane marks. And so if she's healthy and she's able to stay like this, then we're going to be seeing something crazy go down. I mean, I'm interested to see how long this 22.09 stays. I mean, is she going to run sub 22 in the indoor 200? I mean, she's really close. She ran a 22.09. I'd love to see it. Where they were running was Texas A&M, very fast track, so it's going to be tough regardless. But you're going to be going up against the stiffest competition in the NCAA. Now, of course, a lot of that is in the SEC, but she's going to be going up against the best of the best when it comes to indoor track and field, in the 200 especially. Would love to see if she's able to go even lower and potentially flirt with a 21 indoors. Just crazy times by her, and she's part of the reason why, or most of the reason why, Kentucky is in a position to even, potentially get an NCAA championship on the women's side. Taking a look at it, I have on the women's side, Kentucky being ranked 5th with 32 points potentially. So they're right up there, and Abby Steiner's responsible for 20 of those. So she is definitely putting on a show in track and field. And if you haven't seen the highlight, go and watch it. If you're watching the video version of this on YouTube, you probably actually already just saw the clip, but she's putting up crazy times. And if she can continue this through outdoors, I have no reason why she wouldn't be the favorite in, the 200, the 100 outdoors as well. Next thing that we saw was Trey Cunningham of Florida State, the hurdler, running a time of 7.40. It is the second fastest collegiate time behind Grant Holloway's 7.35. And it is also Grant Holloway and Trey Cunningham now have the 7 fastest times of the year. So it's either Holloway with his, 7.35, or it is all the way down to Trey Cunningham with his 7.42, and I think there's even maybe a 7.45 that Grant Holloway had as well. So it's these two guys just dominating the entire world of hurdling, especially in the 60-meter distance. They just are very, very clean over the hurdles, and it's awesome to see what he's doing. I mean, he did this in the prelim, which people will say, like, oh my God, he did this in the prelim. Like, imagine what people can do in the final. But I think when it comes to sprints, that's not really as close to being the case, especially when it comes to a hurdle, because, I mean, you can't really slow down too much because then your entire hurdle race is going to be messed up. And so people are like, oh, he did this in the prelim. Imagine we can do it in the final. I mean, when you're in the prelim, especially when you're the favorite like this, you're probably running very, very, calm, cool, collective because you are used to winning. And so when people are like, oh, I did this in a prelim, imagine the final. I'm like, yeah, I mean, he's running probably more relaxed right now in the prelim than he would be in the final. So I never really understood that mantra of, prelim record. Because, I mean, you can look at, what's his name? Holloway. He's ran a lot of his fastest races in prelims as well. I think because when you're a star, you can run at ease, and it's not as much of a problem there. Next, I would say we're going to take a look at Brandon Miller. So he ran 145.24. I would say right now it's between Trey Cunningham and Brandon Miller on the men's side for who's the lead in the Bowerman races. He obviously the Texas A&M runner. He ran a 145.24, school record for Texas A&M. And to take a look at these numbers, so I think Brandon Miller really shows what great progression really is. So last year, this guy was running 150s. He ran a 150.25, I think, to open up his college career. Let's take a look at that. Yeah. So he was running 150s in college his freshman year, and then now, just 1 year later, he's running 145.24. So he's PRing by 5 seconds. And so it goes to show, I mean, there's a lot of runners out there that run 150. There's a ton of them. And so to see that, hey, you're not at your peak, like you can reach these crazy heights, it goes to show that, why can't this be your story? Keep working at it, keep going at it. There's no reason why you can't be the guy that runs a 150 this year and then runs a 145 next year. Like, there's no reason that you can't do it. Put your head down, do the work, and get after it. And so he's having an amazing year. It's awesome to see coming out of Texas A&M there. And yeah, overall, just break down this weekend when it comes to college track and field and professional track and field, this was a really great weekend. I mean, if you're a fan of track, this was pretty much like the opening day or the opening round of March Madness, because there was track on every single channel that you turn to. Ooh, excuse me, sorry there. There's track on any channel that you went to. So if you were on ESPN Plus, if you were on the SEC Network, if you then go on to CNBC, if you do all of that, there's track and field everywhere. A whole bunch of different conferences. You get to see some good competitions. And so that's something that I love, that if you wanted to see track this weekend, there was pretty much almost any way that you could really participate and watch that. So it was great for me. I think that some conferences definitely do it right, and other conferences could learn a thing or two when it comes to how to actually produce the events. Obviously, the bigger conferences have more money, so they tend to do it a little bit better. But like for example, like I think it was the SEC. They were doing things earlier on in the weekend when it was the heptathlon, pentathlon, and people doing field events. they would just show, it was just straight field events. So if you wanted to see, it would go from one high jump pit to another high jump pit, or one long jump pit to another long jump pit. And like those rapid succession, like one being able to just see the field events in general, and then just having it be two back to back to back. Like it made it really cool. Like there wasn't downtime during that early stages. Obviously, once the track events start, it pretty much just focuses in on the track events, which annoys me. I think there's areas of opportunity where we could definitely be looking in at the field events, but that's just kind of the way that track and field rolls. And yeah, overall it went really well. I mean, the SEC pouring in a lot of money of it. There were definite points where you see the announcers like in the 3K, and I think even during part of the 4x4, announcers weren't saying a single thing. It was just the sounds of the track meet. So it was as if you were sitting up at the top bleacher and watching what was going on. The announcers weren't saying anything for like 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know if that was a technical issue or that was just a creative decision, but it was a little bit weird. And so overall, loved it. It was great seeing a bunch of college track, and it was awesome, especially in the SEC side, because Arkansas and Florida and a whole bunch of other schools are just really going at it head to head up until the last few events. And so whenever there's a team title on the line, it makes it just that much more exciting. And that's what we saw with the SEC. So that was really good there. And then now let's transition to the USA Championship. So it was a great meet. We saw a lot of things. Obviously, it was breakdown into 2 days, both Saturday and then Sunday as well. And so first, want to give a big congratulations to a couple friends of the show that qualified for the World Championship. So these are all people that we have interviewed already, or actually one guy, depending on when you're listening to this, about to interview as well. So all these people, friends of the show, and big congratulations to them. Donald Scott, Javon Harrison, Trevor Bassett, Marvin Bracey Williams, Katie Najat, Casey Lightfoot, Marquise Dendy, and Noah Williams. So congratulations to all of you for qualifying for the World Championship. It is amazing, and glad that we were able to chat. If you'd like to hear their episodes, go and just put their names in the search bar here, and you'll be able to listen to those. And so breaking down a few events. So I want to just talk about some events that stuck out in my eye of special things that happened, things that were exciting, and we'll break those down. Obviously, there's a lot more events that were happening, but we can't sit here and break every single thing down. We'll be here for forever. But so first, the 60. The winner of the 60, no real surprise, Christian Coleman, runs a time of 6.45, and then second place was Marvin Bracey. And so he ran a time of 6.48. And so we'll talk about Coleman first. Like, once again, like, he proves that he's back. That he tied for the world lead here with that 6.45, and he's showing that he's a force to be reckoned with. I mean, each meet he's just getting better and better. Obviously, he was running in the Milrose games. He did well. He pulled out of the meet in, what was it, Tennessee? Oh no, Clemson. And then now he's back here running the world lead in the 60 with the 6.45. And he looked clean. Like, when he was running in Milrose, it wasn't really a clean race. He was leaning really forward, had pretty bad form. He broke down a little bit. Here, he put together a fully clean race, and when the race only lasts 6.5 seconds, like that's a big thing. He also got out of the blocks the fastest, second fastest of anyone there. So he shows that his reaction time and all that is still up to par. And not to dwell on the fact that Marvin Bracey did really well also. I mean, he ran a 6.48, friend of the show also, and it's just so cool seeing him compete because he's just so aggressive with this dang stuff. In prelims, this man like ran through the wall after it happened, just jumping into things. Like, dang, man, why you got this Black Air Force One energy, man? It was really funny, and then he put together a really good final with a 6.48, and yeah, it was great to see because obviously this was his first competition of the entire year for him. He pulled out of Milrose games because he had a little injury that flared up the day before, and He also pulled out of another European, was it Birmingham? I can't remember, but he pulled out of another race a few weeks ago. I'm not sure why. Wasn't able to reach out to him, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a similar thing. And now he's over here and he's qualifying for the world team again, which is fantastic. And so it's going to be exciting to see, how this all goes. And if you don't remember, a few weeks ago, Christian Coleman was doing the wave at Trayvon Bromell, and Marvin Bracey introduced himself into that conversation. And now they're both qualified on the same team together. So it's funny how things work out, isn't it? So yeah, that was something that was really cool. And then the next thing that I want to talk about. So first, gotta issue an apology. I know you're listening to this, Trevor Bassett, because you brought this up to me on Instagram 2 days ago. You said, because I congratulated all the people that I've interviewed on making the team. And he was like, I remember what you said in your podcast last time now. And in my last podcast, I said that Noah Williams was going to win and then Trevor Bassett was going to come in second. And Trevor ended up winning the race. And so this man's bringing it up to me like I didn't remember. Like, hey, dude, I still said you were making the team. You did a little bit better than I thought. Congratulations, but thank you for holding me accountable. And so Trevor Bassett, first collegian to make the men's 400 team since Michael Johnson did it. Which whenever you're in the same conversation as a Michael Johnson, you're in right company. And not only was he a collegian, he's a Division II college guy coming out of Ashland. So really great to see him. I'm really, really proud of him. And I know that he's definitely excited to make the team as well there. And so he performed really well. And Donovan Brazier, he was also in that. He made that team. What's funny, though, or what's interesting about Donovan Brazier is that he almost never even got the opportunity to run in this final. And so during the semis the day before, he was initially DQ'd for lane infringement. They said that he stepped on a line, and if you remember, the rules changed during the winter or before this season, saying you're allowed to step inside a lane one time, and if it's unintentional, and you'll be all right, and that's throughout an entire competition. And they said that he stepped out of the lane twice, and so therefore, he'd be DQ'd. And because of this, he was like really upset, and they're doing video. Otto Bolden's doing all this video to kind of find where it potentially is that he stepped in line. And there's one video of him stepping on the outside lane, but that's not an issue. And there's something of maybe he stepped in the lane here, but they weren't too sure. And eventually they decided, no, you're able to compete. And what was crazy or wild about it is that they didn't find out that he was DQ'd beforehand until after he had already pulled out of the 800. So he had already just known he'd made the final in the 400 and was like, yeah, no reason for me to do the 800 now. And then he ended up finally he was DQ'd, and I'm sure he was like, damn, that sucks. But they ended up getting back in it, and he was good to go. I mean, for either of these guys to win the championship, I mean, it's actually pretty possible because many of the top 400-meter guys indoors this year are coming out of the U.S., and they aren't going to be competing. The fastest is a 45.55 right now. Then it's a 45.85, then a 45.95. So they're right in the mix. I mean, to be running, if you want to win this championship, you're probably going to have to run a 45 mid or a 45 low. And I think that they're definitely capable of doing that. So I'm excited to see how they go with that. On the women's side, Briscoe ends up winning the 60 with a time of 7.07. Mary Beth St. Price ran a 7.08. And so first off, it was what Mary Beth's start was just got me crazy. So if you don't know, she does a 4-point start. So she starts with both of her knees on the ground instead of just one knee like most sprinters do. When I saw this, it was it looked like her head was nearly on the ground. Also, it was almost a 5-point stance. So that she had a really interesting, unorthodox start, but obviously it's working for her. She made the world team. And so Briscoe just had a very clean race. She did exactly what she normally does. She runs in that 7:07 mark. Did fantastic. Mary Beth, not as great. She didn't have a great race for her. Obviously, still a very solid one, very good one, but not the best one by her standards. Obviously, she's ran a 7.04 before, so she's ran faster, and she's had a couple good faster times earlier, but just wasn't able to put that race together for whatever reason it might be. But yeah, I'm excited to see how both of these two ladies are going to be doing. I think they are capable of winning this championship. It really depends on who it is that's going to be going to the World Championship for the women's 60. I mean, taking a look at it, the next Iwa Sobota of Poland is the fastest lady right now. She's running a 7.0 flat. Obviously, Elaine Thompson-Ara is not going to be competing. She mentioned that her season is over. So these other two ladies, I mean, they're going to be, there's Kambuji of Switzerland. So it's going to be those three ladies that are at the top. Depends on if Brianna Williams is going. We're not too sure about that. But overall, some very fast races and excited to see what comes about with it. Holloway, I mean, we don't have to talk about Holloway, do we? I mean, Holloway's doing Holloway things. He ran a 7.37 with the win. Wasn't even close. I mean, this guy, he's undefeated since 2014 in the 60-meter hurdles. No one's challenging him. I really wish that he had won the Olympics, because if he had won the Olympics, I wouldn't be too surprised he was trying out some other events right now, because it's just like he wins all the time. It's him and Ryan Krauser. It's like I want them to try new things because they're too dominant at what they're doing right now. They're too dominant. It's like, do something else. try a new challenge. Your guys are too good. Same thing with Ryan Krauser. Obviously, he won. He threw the world lead on his first throw. He was done since then. And I'm like, why are we even doing this? Do the discus, do the weight throw, try something different. You're too dominant in the shot put. Do something else. But Grant Holloway, great time. He ended up winning, as I said, with the 7.37. Let me take a look. What were the other second place times? Okay, here it is. Jarrett Eaton with a 7.47. So obviously beat everyone by a lot. And then Aaron Mallett. So Aaron Mallett also is going to be going. So if you don't know, with indoors, only 2 people qualify. But if you have someone that won World Indoors before, they get an automatic bid. So for the 60 meters and the 60-meter hurdles, 3 people are going from the U.S. So it is Aaron Mallett, Jarrett Eaton, Grant Holloway. And on the men's side, it's Christian Coleman, Marvin Bracey, and Brandon Carnes. All 3 of those guys are going because Christian Coleman and Grant Holloway. Oh my God, I just forgot that. Both won the world championship at the last indoor. A name that you're going to notice now, Ronnie Baker. Ronnie Baker did not run very well in the 60. He ran a 6.63. He was the last out the blocks, tied with Marvin Bracey. Both Bracey and Baker both had a 1.80 as their reaction time. To put that into perspective, Coleman had a 1.43 and Carnes had a 1.38. So they're both pretty slow at the blocks. Just Ronnie Baker hasn't been having a great year this season. I thought he was going to really start to kind of break out. He did well last year, but he's continuing that kind of slow start for him. And I'm hoping that he can turn things around because he's got too much talent to be running 6.63s in the U.S. finals. Like you're too good for this. Like what's going on? Let's get some speed going on. I'm not sure what's got to change, but let's change something because we're not running as fast as we know that we can. And so last part that we're going to talk about, we have there's 2 things. First, Vashti Cunningham. She qualifies for her 10th team at the age of 24. Let me say that again. Vashti Cunningham has qualified for her 10th United States World Team, and she is only 24 years old. That is insane. She is so good. She is so talented. She doesn't jump too great at this meet. She only jumped 191, but it was enough to win. It was enough to make the team. So crazy thing for Vashti Cunningham. Last thing I wanted to talk about, we're going to travel over to the distance side of things, and that is Cole Hocker. Cole Hocker actually makes the team in both the 1500 as well as the 3000. So he's able to double up here, which is really amazing. And it's now his third team in less than a year. He won obviously the 1500 outdoors. He's won the 1500 indoors now, and he won the 3K indoors also with a meet record. He ran a 339 for the 1500 and a 747 for the 3000. So overall, like he's just showing, he's really showing his dominance. It stinks because we weren't able to see Cooper Tier race him. He actually got COVID before the race, so he wasn't able to compete. But I'm sure that could have been an awesome race to see, but we'll have to wait till outdoors to get that rematch. So Cole Hocker, he's being fantastic. He's showing he still has that kick, because with both of these races he was behind. He wasn't in the top 2 spot for going into the last lap, and then he kicks and he's able to overtake it. And it just showing the range. I mean, he just continues to show that range that he has, which is very exciting and very awesome. So that's going to do it for here. Do it for us here with Track World News. If you like this episode, give it a like, subscribe, leave a review. Really helps us know that you're enjoying everything. Also, got some really cool news we're going to be announcing very, very shortly that I'm sure that you all will like. But that's going to be it for us here. Have a good one. Peace.